Just one electrical substation, an entire airport shut down, flights cancelled, others rerouted worldwide. The Heathrow shutdown really highlights the critical part of critical national infrastructure, or CNI. Basically, the stuff, the systems that keep society running, potentially how vulnerable they are. Like Heathrow, it needs a lot of power, the equivalent of a small town. The bulk of this is supplied by a dedicated connection to the North Hyde substation. That reflects Heathrow's critical status. You can see power lines that supply the area. Others do run to Heathrow, but those don't provide enough power for the whole airport. North Hyde itself could handle malfunctions or parts breaking down. But this catastrophic fire took it completely offline along with its backups. When they failed, so did Heathrow. It is at best embarrassing that critical national infrastructure like this keels over. At worst, though, it shows vulnerabilities in the systems, vulnerabilities that others could exploit. The organisation ultimately responsible for keeping this infrastructure safe is MI5, who the National Protective Security Authority. It lists 13 national infrastructure sectors. Bear with me, there are a lot: chemicals, civil, nuclear, communications, defence, emergency services, energy, finance, food, government, health, space, transport, water. It is rather a lot to look after. Take transport, today's topic. These, for instance, are all the airports mapped over the UK. But then you need to throw in maritime ports on top of that, and then on top of that, train stations. Or take another one of these categories, energy. We can show power stations across the country. We can also show oil and gas pipelines coming in. We can show undersea cables that bring the internet ashore here in dark blue. It's complicated, and all of those things are vulnerable. Take undersea cables, which have recently picked up the unfortunate habit of being cut. This video is from the Taiwanese Coast Guard, and the country's accused China of deliberately sabotaging cables. China has responded that such damage is, quote, a common maritime accident. Accidents do happen, but so do attacks. It can be hard to tell the difference, and that's the point of what are known as grey zone attacks. Now, how bad would incidents like this be in the UK? Well, the British government does plan for this. The UK National Risk Register is an annual assessment of the risks we face. The likelihood, the impact of risks are plotted onto a matrix like this. So likelihood goes along the bottom here, more likely the further you go along. The impact more severe as you go up when it comes to the plausible worst-case scenario manifestation of each risk. Each of these dots represents a different type of event. So you get things like an accidental fire, an explosion at an onshore fuel pipeline in red. But let's go, you've got a civil nuclear accident. That is unlikely according to the scale, but if it happened, it would be catastrophic. Another thing that would be catastrophic and is in familiar memory, pandemic here, that is more likely with catastrophic results as a result. But then you get things which are also quite likely to happen but wouldn't be that bad. So along here you've got a major outbreak of plant pests. Regional failure of the electricity network. This is what happened to Heathrow. You can see that bang in the middle of the grid. The National Risk Register is sensible planning, but it's also a catalogue of vulnerabilities. There's no evidence yet of foul play at Heathrow. It shows weaknesses that enemies could take advantage of.